Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. We all have so much hope for Tesla. Most of us even believe that Tesla will likely be the largest company in the world, and reasonably soon too. Are we delusional in our thinking? Have we been caught up in all the excitement from the CEO that we now believe his every word? Or is it that we have millions of dollars invested in this company and couldn't bear any thought of losing it, so we stick to echo chambers that verify our chosen narrative? If anyone talks against us, we instantly knock them down and say it's just rhetoric. Our minds are made up. There is no convincing us otherwise. Any hyperbole perpetuated by the media is instantly FUD. We know better than them. Who are they to question Tesla or our hallowed CEO? We openly mock anyone who doubts our future visions, like the infamous Gordon Johnson. If anyone doubts us, then we look to our next line of disciples: Cathie Wood, Ron Barron, Gene Munster, Ross Gerber, and others. These people are credible. They're fund managers, or professional stock analysts, or even billionaires. And if they're not positive enough, then we turn to our favourite YouTubers, Twitter accounts, bloggers, or Facebook groups. They're always there to give us support and help defend anyone who has something negative to say about our leader and company. Whenever there is any new EV, we're ready to jump on it and explain why Tesla is better, knowing fully well Tesla can't be beaten on battery supply and range. And we're always quick to remind everyone that Tesla doesn't have to pay for dealers or pay for advertising. Why is our mind made up that any new EV won't come close to Tesla? Because this is Tesla's game, with nearly 2 decades of experience. Literally all the best engineers in the world at EV technology. The extra billions and billions more spent on R&D. The motivated employees who want to please Elon and help transition off fossil fuels. Oh right, and Tesla don't have a legacy auto company that they also need to protect. But we also have to deal with other external threats too. Other similar companies trying to say that they can do what Tesla does, or even better. Companies like Lucid, the Churchill Capital SPAC, which has all the signs of a classic pump and dump. Obviously Nikola, a company of a total vaporware product. And even NIO, claiming solid-state batteries with 1,000 kilometer range next year. These can also affect Tesla negatively too. But if you want to tell which ones are genuine, it's usually the ones who aren't trying to do everything they can to pump up the stock price and make you believe in the company. The genuine ones are those that are spending money on building the company and products, rather than creating a dog and pony show. Now, this is nothing new for me. I've been respectfully arguing with short sellers for years. I remember in 2017 them telling me I'll lose all my money. They seemed so certain and backed their beliefs with their money. And eventually I had to deal with this whilst the Tesla stock price literally dropped to half its all-time high once. I kept going back to the fundamentals. Nothing had changed. I did the math. I researched the potential. It still looked like it could go up 10 times in the next 5 or 10 years. It went up over 20-fold in just 2 years. Not only did I not sell, I kept buying. At one stage, I'd lost so much money, I didn't really care anymore. I'd almost ridden the money off. Either way, I just had to see this through. And I'd make up the money again sometime later in my life. But I stuck to it. The short sellers were wrong, and I was right. Tesla didn't go bankrupt. They're still alive. People invest in other companies like Google or Apple, and you run a risk that you might lose 20% if it drops. But the potential of losing 100% is a bit different. You're risking all your money, not just a 20% potential loss. And here we are, 4 years later. The narrative hasn't stopped, despite the fact Tesla now have successfully launched the best-selling premium sedan, and the Model Y looks like it might make it to the best-selling car, period. But back then, there was no such thing as a 4680 battery. There wasn't even any mention of a potential battery day. We ran these numbers with the 2170 batteries, and it still looked prosperous enough. But now we do have the 4680 batteries, or at least potentially on the way. The batteries are the most expensive component in the car. The fact that Tesla can reduce this cost by half is huge. Although they've probably just about achieved that already with the LFP batteries they're using, which weren't being used back then either. And then forget about structural battery packs or gigapresses, which we're now witnessing for the front of the Model Y. Fear, uncertainty, doubt, it's real. The short sellers, the media, even some of our friends, or at least the ones who didn't buy Tesla when we said they should, are happy to again reinforce anything negative Tesla does. It's their pleasure to inform us. And in all the other investors who missed out on Tesla, obviously suffering from regret, love hearing that Tesla is going down. It helps them cope with the fact they missed out on the investment of a lifetime. They get to call us delusional fanboys, like we're in some sort of cult. Well, whether it's a cult or not, it certainly pays well. I believe this company is going to be very successful, and I'm invested in it so I can make a lot of money. But that's not the only reason. I also want to invest in the future I want to see, a company whose main mission is to transition the world off fossil fuels. I mean, isn't that a great mission to have, and a great company to be a part of? As extreme as it sounds, but to potentially save the world. But not only that, also to decentralize energy and transport. Decentralization basically means you take away wealthy people's moats of hoarding wealth. The world is run on oil. We can't extract our own oil and then refine it into gasoline to run our cars. It's mainly controlled by the Middle East, because they have the most, and they can also extract it at the lowest cost. But we can place solar panels on our roof and install a battery in our house. We can then use that energy to charge and run our electric car, all independently and completely decentralized. And obviously not just transport, but energy too. We're beholden to the power companies to give us energy to run our homes and businesses all day, every day. Without it, we struggle to even keep warm or cook. Decentralized energy and power basically means wealth will go from the oligarchies to the people. I'm a free market advocate. I believe in large incentives for people who change the world. But centralization, through cronyism, is the opposite. People should not be able to amass this much wealth without making the world better and improving our standard of living, rather than literally destroying and polluting it. And then of course Bitcoin is the financial equivalent of decentralization. No more banks or fiat currencies. But is it all riding on one unpredictable CEO, whilst he's involved in 3 other companies, SpaceX, Neuralink and Boring? Oh, and of course now potentially looking at cryptos too. Let's see. SpaceX managed to land rockets, along with other outstanding achievements never before seen. Neuralink is close to practically communicating with monkeys. As for Boring, well, if they can get that right, it could have as much potential as Tesla. But who knows, maybe it's a pipe dream. And then that leaves Tesla, the car company that already has data to prove it can self-drive safer than a human. That happened, it's already a thing, and for those of you who've experienced it, then it's phenomenal. And it sounds like the feature complete version isn't too far away either. But even if we factor in Elon time and maybe double that again, if it's not properly released until 2025, well, Tesla will still be first to market. Yes, there is no other company going for level 5 autonomy. All the others are going for level 4 with a mapped out geofenced area using LiDAR. Tesla's even dropped the need for radar. People may mock the idea of robotaxis, but Tesla are closer than anyone else. The cars are digital and capable of transforming into a self-driving taxi with a simple over-the-air update. The product is already being distributed out to the public. It's the paradigm shift of thought that we need to comprehend, that this could actually be a possibility. And we've done the numbers. It's highly profitable. But even if FSD takes 4 more years, and robotaxis maybe 10 years, it's not what us cult investors are even banking on. We've done our numbers. These cars are highly profitable, particularly when we don't have to pay for advertising or car dealers. Yes, highly profitable now, but what profit will we see when the gigapress is making the front and rear castings of all the vehicles like we're now witnessing, along with structural battery packs and 4680 batteries at around half the cost, possibly up to 40% margins on some models, not to mention anything else that might come out. And now Ford have kindly informed us just how truly amazing the Cybertruck is by demonstrating their electric F150 coming up so short despite over 120 years of car manufacturing experience. Yet so many of you tell me that I have no idea, and I underestimate just how strong a following the Ford pickup truck has, and that Tesla can't come close to compete with Ford when it comes to the F150. Well, the verdict's out on that now too. The F150 received 20,000 pre-orders in the first 12 hours, compared to 146,000 for the Cybertruck in the first 24 hours. The Cybertruck obliterated it in pre-orders, and this is America's best-selling model, and it didn't come close, implying Tesla's electric pickup demand alone will likely be 4 times Ford's. Tesla destroying them in their own segment. Of course, in reality, the Cybertruck market share will be closer to 10 times as high as the F-150s, because manufacturing electric vehicles are Tesla's game. And if it goes anything like the Mackie, it will also be a failure. That's right, the Mackie is a failure. Even the small amount of sales they have are dwindling every month, and who knows how many of those sales are just to car dealers. Ford are not capable of mass-scale production on EVs yet, and they even had a recall within the first couple of months. It's going to be a lot harder to mass-produce a much larger, more complex EV for Ford, not to mention the enormous size battery pack they are going to require for the F-150. Whereas demand for the Model Y keeps growing every month. I don't understand why this is so hard for people to understand. My forecast is they may only do about 10,000 F150 sales in 2023, and none next year. It's way too hard for them to start to deliver that soon. It will no doubt be delayed, and by that stage, Tesla has taken first mover advantage and dominated the electric pickup truck market already. Every owner is going to want to show off their Cybertruck to everyone they know. Why do you think Tesla don't need to advertise? They have over 1 million owners acting as sales reps. Anyway, this is how I see things. Plenty of avid Ford fans out there happy to tell me different. But these are numbers, not manipulated statistics. I like trusting numbers. The electric car market is Tesla's alone, and it's the future of transport. Even Biden said so. Except he meant to endorse Ford with that statement, but it all goes to Tesla. I keep saying, Tesla have this decade to themselves. But we're still bombarded with negative stories from credible sources and the media, and continually attacking Tesla. But their cliche go-to attacks are dwindling now. We used to continually hear how there was no demand for Teslas. Teslas don't advertise, and there is a growing waiting list for their vehicles. Now they're basically left with Tesla only makes profits because of regulatory credits. Personally, I wouldn't care if Tesla made losses even with regulatory credits, if the reason was the fact they're just trying to grow the company as fast as they can. Anyone who has this as an argument simply can't read a financial statement, and they get their knowledge from the fake news media. But having continual negative narratives thrown at us to deter our investment and prolong the EV inevitability can be tough. We may be somewhat of an echo chamber, but at times almost a support group, to remind ourselves to maintain the conviction, and the comments I get from viewers help reinforce my beliefs too. I am impressed with the level of collective knowledge you have. I don't need to convince you on what Tesla is doing. I just help reinforce what some of you already know. Why can't the world support and be happy that we have a company doing everything they can to take us off fossil fuels, with an antiquated system trying to hold them down? Yet, we're deluded fanboys in a cult, wanting to support a better world for future generations. We have a vision of the future and simply want to invest and see it through. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.